Hey, we're back. Okay. 3 minutes late. I got a little bit distracted. Let me just check the sound levels. Yeah. Perfectly fine. I'm never sure if should use this mic or my other one, the wireless one. But I mean, I have this one already. So let's kick things in. Let's get this going. Let's get the party going. And here we go. Yeah. What's in the menu today? I scheduled the live stream, but I completely forget what's in the menu today. Give me a second. Oh, yes. The Linux file system hierarchy. How do you say it? Hierarchy. Hierarchy. I don't give a shit. It's whatever. Cool. Let me get a screenshot going. So you can just kick things and let's get things going. Yeah, let's get this. Can I paste into here? I still yet to find edit, so there is no way to paste. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Well, it's not that fine, or is it? I'm still yet to find. If you know if you guys have some suggestions, a decent PDF stuff, jiggy. So I have Ocular. Ocular is fine for taking notes, but I cannot paste into the PDF. I mean, I need to research more into this, but it's fine. We'll just use the old faithful GIMP. Never fails us. Never fails us. From clipboard, there we go. GIMP never fails. Wait, let me test this out. Where's my fucking pen? There it is. I never used my pen in GIMP. It makes no sense. It's so obvious. Okay, where is the paintbrush thingy-majiggy? Why did the toolbar change? Warp. What the hell is the paintbrush? This is airbrush. It's in a group. Paintbrush. Oh, it's P. Ain't that easy? Nice. Okay, let me get white going here. So can I just do this? Oh, I can. Okay. So let's just get a bigger size going. You guys are seeing nothing. You guys are seeing shit, I know. But I'm just trying to get the paintbrush size going. And it's doing nothing. Why is he going to the foreground select tool when I just do this? Oh my God, I need to figure out how. Well, I can use the mouse. That's fine. But what? Can I? What's going on here? Something's not right. Why can I? It would be so nice so I could just kind of paste. Can I save as a PDF on GIMP? Let me see. File, export as. Go to the desktop. It's fine. And files. Can I just force myself into this PDF? Export. If I can, this is absolutely amazing. It does not solve my issue, but it kind of allows me to. What do you know? It did work. Ain't that nice? Holy shit! I love Linux. I love Linux more and more and more. So let's go here. Yeah, that's very pretty. Of course, black on black just does not work. But can I add white really quick here? I'm going to add. Let's add white. Opacity icon. No, that's not what I want. Quick annotation tools. So let me just, I never use yellow and I have two greens. Why do I have two greens? Let's change this to white. And we are good to go. Oh, this is not, I don't want the green highlighter. Oh, I want freehand lines. Okay. So that's not going to work. Configure. I don't want the freehand shit. Annotations. General? I don't want the annotations. I want a freehand line. How the hell do I add a freehand line? Add? Type. Oh, it's there. I am stupid. Freehand line. And white. Select. Add. Okay. Can I? Ain't that nice? Cool. Can I drag this up? Or I need to go here? Oh, this should be easier. Freehand line. I need to go here. Cannot drag it. So let's put it here. It's a little bit too thick. Giggity. So let's go to 1. There we go. Yeah, so if you are a member, you're going to be able to access a full edit without this jibber jabber blabber blabber. You can go directly. And why did my full... Oh, I just clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. So where is my tablet? There we go. Yeah. So if you are a member, you will have the right to access the edited version. So we'll just go right to the point. If you are not a member, you'll be able to see the VOD, exactly this one. Okay, cool. Let me just put things a little bit straighter. Cool. So this chapter, which is what, 5? I guess it is 5. Let me double check the chapter number. 6, okay. Chapter 6, which is file system hierarchy. So let's get some basics going, okay? Which is, what is the Linux file system hierarchy? Well, it's quite simple. The Linux file system hierarchy, it's a way we kind of organize our files and our folders in a specific way. And whatever the Linux distro you are using, they always mean the same, okay? So if you're watching this in a vertical format, you can go to the horizontal format to be with more clearance. So let me start the recording. 3, 2, 1. So let's start chapter 5, which is, I'm sorry, not chapter 5, chapter 6, which is the Linux file system hierarchy. And yeah, so this is we're going to discuss how files are placed in the Linux file system, why they are there, and try to get some logic out of this, try to get some, well, I don't enjoy saying people to memorize stuff. Memorizing doesn't really help much people, even though some people do like to memorize, but the idea here is to get some logic. So when you have to remember any of this, it just makes sense, and you don't need to go in a kind of, I need to memorize this or else I will not know how to use this. That's not the idea. The idea is for you guys to get some logic and get some muscle memory, which make things really, really easy. And this applies to whatever Linux, all right? It applies to Red Hat, obviously, but also to any other Linux that you might use. It applies to, I mean, literally every Linux, with some slight variations. Okay, that's true. There are some slight variations that you may find, but for the most part, this is what you should expect to see: is the folders like this in this position and their meanings. I digress. So let's go straight to the point. So this is the root folder. Okay, this one is the root folder. Why is called the root folder? Because in Linux, things are kind of organized like a tree. So I'm not going to do this right now, but if you invert This is basically the root of a tree, and this is a file system tree. So that's why it's called the root. And in Linux, it's represented by a backslash. So this is the root file system, okay? This is our root file system. I know it's can be a little bit confusing for the beginners, because we also have a root folder, okay? We also have a root folder. And what I will get the root folder. Well, I can get it right now. Why not? So the root, this slash or backslash represents, no, this is a forward slash, right? Yeah, so this is the forward slash. So the forward slash represents the beginning. This is where everything starts. It's like if you want to be a little bit, if you want to have something to compare to, you can consider the Windows C column. It's like the C drive. It's our root file system. It's a bad comparison, but it just gets your brain. It just gets your brain going if you want to, just to get something to grasp. If you come from the Windows world, all right, cool. Now next, let's focus on this root folder. And what does this mean? Well, that's the folder for the root user. Okay, I think everybody knows what the root user is, or who he is, or who she is. Need to be careful these days, but everybody knows it. But I can just tell you what it is. So the root user is kind of the administrator. So he has full entitlement. He can do anything with the system. So in other words, he's the full owner of the system. And of course, you need to be careful who uses it or to whom you give access to it. We will discuss this a little bit further down the line on other chapters. I highly recommend you to like, subscribe, and hype so you can notified when new live streams come up and new content comes up about this. So yeah, you have the root user. This is the guy who in charge, who can do anything he wants with the system. And that folder, it's a folder where that specific root user can save files to. So every user in the Linux system has a folder where he can just read write at his own demand. There are some details to be discussed around this concept, but for the most part, every user has a folder to write his files to. Every user, with some notorious exceptions, we will get that or to them later on. But for the most part, all users have a home folder where they can write files, and they have all the entitlement to that folder. The folder for the root user, it's the root, or also called /root. Okay, often, and this is very important. Often we specify a folder location using the root folder as a reference. This is called the absolute path name. Okay, so the absolute path name uses as a starting point always the root folder. So this is my favorite way to reference a folder location, because it's impossible to be. It's very precise. Okay, so if you are trying to tell someone where a specific folder is, I usually recommend doing /. Because if this is always the starting point, so it's very it's almost impossible to get it wrong. Because imagine that the center of your world is, I don't know, New York. I could say any city in the world. So if you say where to get to somewhere and always use the same starting point, reference point, it's kind of impossible to get it wrong. So if you say, how do I get to London to London? If you always assume that the starting point is New York, everybody knows that. But everybody knows that in the world, there are multiple cities to be considered as a starting point, right? So if you are kind of sketching in around your starting point, how to get to London from Budapest, from Lisbon, from whatever, then you are not using something that is absolute. It's something that is very relative. So we also use that concept in the Linux file system. So we have absolute file names and relative file names, or file paths, better said. So absolute file paths are file paths that are used as a reference. Always the root folder, which is this one. So this is an absolute one. A relative path name, it's when you use a starting point, something different than the root folder. Okay? Let me use another example. So we have here a home folder, or in other words, /home. Okay? Cool? Yeah. The home folder is where the users can read and write from, and everybody has its own home folder. So by default, when you create a user, he or she are going to have a home folder in the home folder. So if you create a user called Alice, it's going to be /home/Alice. If you create a user called Bob, it's going to be /home/Bob, and so on and so forth. That's by default. You cannot. It's not mandatory. It's not obligatory. It's not something that is going to happen for sure. It's just something that can happen by default. You can kind of force things to be a little bit different. We'll get there in future chapters. So if you want to know or learn all about that, just like, subscribe, and hype, and you get notified. Okay? Cool. Yeah. So every user has his home folder, and it's on the on the /home folder. Is it mandatory to be here? No, not at all. But for now, let's assume that. Okay, let's get that rule going. It's always, not always. We already know that, but it's always /home/something. So for example, if I want to reference how to get to the Eves folder, if I use an absolute path name, it's going to be /home/Eve, right? And then you get there. Correct? Yeah, correct. But what if I am already in the home folder? I just need to go to Eve. I just need to take one step, not two steps, right? So that's the difference between absolute path names and relative path names. Absolute path names you always use as reference to root. Relative, it will depend on where you are at. So absolute path name for the Eve folder is /home/Eve. Relative, it's relative because it depends where you started. If you are already here, it's just cd Eve, right? So absolute, always the reference as a root file system. Relative, it's going to be dependent on where you are at the moment. I like to use absolute path names because they are always the same. That's why it's called absolute. Mind-blowing, right? Right. But you do whatever, you do you. I do almost always use absolute path names because I have a bad memory and bad mind. I'm a twat. So absolute path names really reduces the possibilities for me to screw things up, and I will screw things up anyways, but that's just me. Now, the rest of the folders in this list. /bin. Bin means binaries. These are executables that everybody can use. Simple, right? Right. In recent times, well, I don't know what, 10 years ago, more or less, bin now has a different path names. Sorry, has a different, it's not /bin anymore, okay? /bin, now it's usr bin, okay? The old folder still exists, but it's a soft link to this one. I will explain what a soft link is in a few minutes. Does it impact us much? Well, it really depends. In day-to-day use, absolutely nothing, because the old path still exists. And most users don't care what the executable is, they just care that the executable works. For some users, may cause a problem, because if you are using scripts or anything that uses the absolute path, which is the correct way to go, things, even though still work on the old location, you should update to the new location, because the old location might go away and without further notice. That being said, every time this happens, rarely it happen. So most likely in 20 years, a very old Ozzoy is going to tell you this, and the old path still exists. But you were warned. Boot. This is where the boot files reside. Again, mind-blowing. Not really. Dev, devices. This is a folder that contains references to hardware. You probably already heard that thing that says in Linux everything is a file, and it's true. So in the dev, imagine dev like you're much more efficient and not glorified at all device manager. It's much more efficient. But for that, we can talk about that later. So dev contains files that represent folders. Ain't that nice? Oh, I'm stupid or what? Contains files and folders that represent hardware. That's what I wanted to say. Disks, partitions, modems, network cards, graphics cards, etc. are going to be represented in the dev folder in some way, shape, or form. Ain't that nice? The etc folder, or etc folder for some people, which is fine. The etc folder contains a bunch of shit. But to keep things simple, let's assume that the etc folder or the etc folder contains configuration files. This is not absolutely 100% true. It's not. But for now, let's assume that. So, yeah, the etc folder contains configuration files. Again, it's not 100% true. Let me just test my audio. There we go. It's working. So yeah, it's not 100% true. But for now, let's use this idea and keep with that idea. Okay? So it's again, the etc folder does not contain only config files, but for now, let's assume that. Next, the home folder we discussed, the root folder we have discussed, run or /run. Don't go anywhere. Don't run out. Don't run. So the run folder, it's a folder that contains runtime data. What does this mean? It means that it's going to contain files and folders that are going to be completely obliterated in every reboot. Right? Right. So the run folder will contain files and folders that are going to be completely destroyed in every reboot and rebuilt. So if you want things to stay there forever, don't put files in the run folder. Do you have to worry about the run folder? At this point, not at all. Do you have to worry about the run folder for the exam? No, with a couple of exceptions. Don't worry about the run folder. It just exists. The system needs it, and it's going to sit there, and it's going to be fine. SBIN, system binaries. These are binaries / executables that only the root user or equivalent can use. Simple, right? Right. Yeah. And the SBIN folder, now it's on the USR folder also, like the error implies. It is an issue, the same conversation that we had for the bin folder, the same shit. TMP folder, temporary file, things get written down there, things get removed from there by a specific set of processes. In this time and age, on Real 10, it's our system TMP files. I have a video about that, go check it out. Regular users, do you need to worry about the TMP folder? No. For the exam, do you have to worry about the TMP folder? Yes. I have a video about that. Go check it out. USR folder or user folder. Some people call it USR. Some people call it user. I don't give a damn's ass what you call it. It's USR. I call it USR. Some people call it user. It's fine. I don't care what you call it. Just understand the concept. USR folder contains user files. That's kind of the generic purpose. Nowadays, it contains the bin and the SBIN. It used to contain a TMP file folder that now it's on the var folder. I will talk about the var folder in a second. The USR contains the bin, SBIN, local folder, which contains, for example, your browser files. Lots of stuff go there. Then you have the VIR or the var, variable content data, variable data. The most common thing to find in the var folder are logs, our logs files. Is that the only thing you'll find in the var folder? No, not at all. We'll find lots of shit there. But for now, just remember, if I need a log file, I'll go to the var folder. Don't worry about too much where things are, because there are ways to find things. Just understand the general concept. For example, I need something related to configuration. Where is my hunch? Well, it should be somewhere in the etc folder. It's that simple. I need a log file. Where is the most possible logical position or location for that? The var folder. There are always exceptions for the rule. Don't type angry on the comments, because I know there are always exceptions that applies to anything in life. Exceptions are part of our lives. And Linux is not different. There are going to be some exceptions. Of course there are. Just don't worry about too much exceptions. You will deal with them when they arrive, and you have time to lose some hair like I did to understand those exceptions. It's fine. Just understand the generic concept, okay? Don't try to memorize. Don't try to... That's not the idea here. Cool. And ain't that nice? So I'm going to let that sink in a little bit. We will use this so much. At the end of this, you will just throw up file systems. Okay, we have discussed absolute path names. We have discussed relative path names. I'm just checking my notes here. Yeah, that's kind of done. Absolute starts with a slash. Relative starts with it depends. Okay, some stuff that may help you along the line, along your life. Let me just swap scenes here. So where should we go? We go here. Ain't that nice? Cool. Back to my notes. Because I'm a dum-dum. I need to have my notes so I can remember stuff. Because I'm dumb. Did I tell you again? Did I tell you this today that I'm dumb? I think I did, but it never hurts to say multiple times. Cool. Oh, my voice. Sure. So, what are the commands I recommend you guys to kind of learn? Again, don't memorize. Learn. Hey, that's a good catchphrase. Don't memorize. Learn. I put a serious face. Don't memorize. Learn. Yeah, that's nice. I like it. PWD. Print working directory. If you're watching this in short form, in vertical form, I'm streaming this also on YouTube horizontal and also on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ozzoy Bits. I'm also there, or just go to my main channel and I'll also stream horizontal so you can see better. If you prefer to stick with the short version, with the vertical one, well, okay. Oh, I need to fix something here. Give me a second. I just noticed something that I don't like. Let me just fix that because I don't like this visual clutter. Come on, I should know better. So much better like this. Oh. Much better. Yes, I am using VMware in Windows. Go and cry me a river. Go and cry me a river and see if anyone cares. It works for me. It's fine. I need to migrate this. Yes, I have to. Will I? I don't know. Maybe things break. PWD. Print working directory. Ain't that nice? So, surprise, surprise. What does this get me? This shows me what? Where directory I am at right now. That's why the file is called print working directory. And that's basically much what he does. He or she. I'll stop this. Jump. Yeah, it's basically that. And this doesn't help us all that much. Yeah, PWD. It shows us where we are. So which means if I swap directories, this is what we get. Ain't that nice? Ain't that nice? Is this useful? Hell yeah. Because not always you get this information here. Okay. I know that Bash is trying to be the good guy and telling us where we are. And fun fact, the tilde here, let me put a note, tilde equals home folder. Which means if I do cd tilde, come on, can you just, why is the tilde such a problematic character? Jesus. I'm home. So if I go back here, if I do this, I'm home. Or I can do cd tilde root. I am not allowed to do that because I cannot go to the roots folder, but tilde alone, it's my home folder. Tilde with the roots username in front, it's the home folder of that specific username. Ain't that nice? And if I do cd, just cd, takes me home. Ain't that nice? I'm home now. Like Son Goku and Dragon Ball. I'm home. Ain't that nice? I like this command. Cool. And that's why the bash shows us the tilde. Tilde means you are at your home folder. Ain't that nice? Ain't that nice? I like that. But not always that's not always the case. Okay? Because there is a variable called PS1. Do I want to do this? Sure. So this variable here allows us to customize the prompts that you see here. Of course, I try to be fancy. There you see, not always the prompt, it's the one you expect to see. That's why PWD is nice, because now I can see where I am at. Cool? Cool. Now you say, now you fuck these things up. I like how things were. Sure, that's not defined anywhere. I just need to relaunch my terminal. And it took a while. I don't know why. Gee, come on, computer, work with me. I'll explain why this is the case, because this is on a HDD, a spinning drive. So that's why it's so slow. I can hear the drives going nuts. There we go. It's a spinning drive, so, and it's an old one. It's about to die, because that's what happens to spinning drives. They just die. Maybe that's an excuse to get something new, but I don't have them. I'm a very small content creator. I barely can pay my rent. So if there is a sponsor out there that wants to sponsor me, my DMs are open, man. Just let's talk. Cool. Yeah. So that variable here, the PS1, it's not written down. It's just a temporary. If you do it like this, I can make it permanent, yes, but I will not. So I just reopen my terminal. Everything's back where they were. Oh my God. Half an hour talking about PWD. Ain't that nice? Cool. Next. PWD. Yes, I have discussed PWD, print working directory, blah, 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 the tilde, blah, blah, blah. Cool. How to list files? Well, you know this already, don't we? ls. This is going to show me all the files on this folder. Ain't that nice? Not on this folder, in this folder. I know. Right? If I do ls -l shows me a long list with all the details about each file. We'll discuss this in a later chapter. So like, subscribe, and hype to get notified. And we can put the A. A shows us hidden files and folders. I will not discuss hidden files or hidden folders at this point. I will discuss it later. Like, subscribe, hype, and comment to get notified. So the ls is going to show us details about files in our current folder. So if I go to the slash, I can see the files, some of the folders we have discussed earlier on. I can do an L to see the details, and you can see, for example, our sbin is pointing to the new location. So you can just use this one for now, but I highly recommend you guys to use the new location on the long run. Don't use the old. It still works, I know, but get used to this one, or don't forget that the location changed. Also, I can do ls tilde to ls my home folder, because I can ls stuff without seeding into that. Okay? That's an important concept. Nice. Oh, one thing I don't use that much is the cd dash. The cd dash takes us to the folder we were previously. So the cd dash does not take us to the previous folder, but to the folder where we were previously. So like you know, if I do cd slash cd home, it's kind of in the chain, right? As slash home. Or for example, I can go to student folder. So it's slash home slash student. So there are, well, in a way, 3 different levels. The root, the first folder, and the second folder. So this is kind of a chain, right? If I do cd ... I'm going to the previous one in the chain, right? But if I do, for example, cd/cd dash, the dash takes us to the folder where I was previously, not the one previous in the chain. Again, if I do cd dot now, I'll go here. Right? If I do cd dash, I'm going to the folder where I was previously. I don't use the cd dash all that much, but I like to show because there are people who actually use it very, very efficiently. ls/la, you also see some special things here like the dots and the dot dot. Dot means my current folder. Dot dot means the previous one. So my current folder is this one. The previous one is that one. Okay? That's why we do cd dot dot. Now you know. We do cd dot dot to do the previous one because it's a special reference on the current folder that represents the previous folder, and the dot represents the current folder. If I do this, I'll just stay exactly where I am, which is nice. For example, I can copy a file to my current folder. Ain't that nice? I don't have to do something like, I don't have to, but I can. This will have the similar effect. But I can do something like this in more complicated scenarios where just typing a dot saves me time and a bunch of headaches. Ain't that nice? Now you know. Cool. BWD, yep. And that's a pretty basic, but also, in a way, if you want me to be honest, it's a pretty basic overview of the file system. But it's pretty much that. It's pretty much it, you know? That's pretty much it. It just is. If you understood all these concepts, if you haven't, when this VOD, it's kind of we are done with live stream, go back to the VOD, to the recording, or if you remember, go and check the edited down version. And just that's the marvelous thing about doing live streams in this environment, which is we can watch it again and again and again and again for free. Except for members, because they will have the special version. But if you are willing if you are willing to hear me ramble and tell bad jokes, you can just watch it again and again and again. You know it, and again. And you can go to the comment section and ask away. I was considering creating a Discord server for us. But fuck Discord. Unless they want to sponsor me. No, I would not. What they did with the edge verification is just completely absurd. Anyways, if you understood this, yeah. It's pretty much it. etc home flash. Absolute path names, relative path names, pwdls copy mv. That's pretty much it. Cool. That's done for chapter 6. We've been rambling about this for almost an hour now. No, half an hour, which is quite enough. Now, if you have a virtual machine or a physical machine handy, go and practice this while we do a coffee break. If you don't have a virtual machine, you don't know how to do it, I have a playlist on how to build virtual machines for training in this very channel. Go check it out, or check the description. It's also there. Or go to ozzoybits.gumroad.com, also in the description, and get them pre-built. It's that easy. Go to ozzoybits.gumroad.com and you can get them ready to use. Isn't that nice? So can you watch the playlist and learn how to build them yourselves? Or just go to ozzoybits.gumroad.com and get them. Ain't that nice? Now you know. Coffee break time. Let's have a pee, have some tea, or whatever you like to do in the coffee breaks. And we come back to chapter 7. Where is my button? I have too many buttons, man. Where is the coffee break button? Oh, it's there. See you in a few minutes. At least 5. Take a rest. We're back. There's going to be a day I forget to turn on the mic, but that's not today. Coolio. What's next? Let me check my notes. Oh, yes. Managing files from the command line. Let me get my notes. Okay, cool. So let's start with a command that everybody loves. At least I think they do. Which is the touch commands. The touch command. I don't have alerts for the streams like new subscribers, new followers. Should I create alerts? It takes 5 minutes. So yeah, I think I will create some alerts, some basic alerts. So in a way to say thanks to new followers and subscribers. Yeah. It takes 2 seconds, so I will create the alert. Cool. Where was I? Oh yeah, the touch command. So what this has to do with file system management, because, well, it has everything to do with file system management because, or creating files. Because the touch command allows us to create files in a special way. So, sorry. Everybody knows the touch command that does this. So if I do touch file 1, for example, what happens? The file now exists with 0 bytes. So in simple terms, the touch command allows us to create files with a 0 size. Give me 1 second. I forget. I had 10 minutes to do this and I forget. Come on. Jesus. So Twitch.tv. Ozzoy Bits. And would you look at that? That's a very pretty stream. Why do I say this? Because I have a new follower on Twitch. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I forget his name. What is the name of the follower? Oh my God, I have a strange name. Tennis Hag. Tennis Hag? Well, Tennis Hag? I don't know. I don't know if you are a real person or just some bot, but well, it's there. It counts. Okay, cool. So touch. The touch command. The touch command allows us to create many things, and the simplest way to do the touch command or to use the touch command is by creating empty files. Okay, yeah. So I know I digress. I know I digress a little bit in these live streams, because that's just our ADHD brain. I need to vent sometimes. Some of you may relate. So the touch command will create a 0 byte file if used like this. Okay? But the touch command is not used to create empty files, even though everybody does it. The touch command is not used to create empty files, even though everybody use it, because that's something he can do very well. The touch command, okay, the touch command allows us to sorry, change the timestamp of the command. And why am I rambling so much? Because I wanted some time to elapse. So right now it's 9:27, like this shows, and very well. Okay. But the file was created on 9:54. So if I retouch it, now it should show. It should show. It's not a shit show this time. So the touch will change the timestamp of the file, either for the current time or for a specified time. Okay. That's what the main page states. So if you doubt me, go and check it out. However, if I do something like, oops, like this, in all the options it offers, it has the no create option. I mean, in between many other options, of course. If I do the -C, it does not create. Okay. All right. So the main reason, I mean, there are many reasons, but historically speaking, the touch command was used. This is just one example of its many use cases. Okay. This is just one example of its many use cases. But the most classical reason for the touch command to exist is in the old days, when you had a script to back up files. Let's say you have a folder with 3,000 files, and your backup schedule is going to back up only those 3,000 files that were changed today. If they were not changed, it does not back up. So basically, in simple terms, if the timestamp is not from today, it will not back up. But what if you want to back up all those files, even though they were not changed? You would touch them. It sounds very dirty, but you just need to go there and you just go touch all of the files. And now all my files look to be changed just now. Were they changed? No, they were not changed, but it looks like that. It looks they were changed. All right. So the touch command will kind of give the illusion that the files were changed, but they were not. So it changes the timestamp for now or for one specific time. So the backup procedure will just go to this folder, look at the timestamps, and say, "Oh, look, the files were changed," and would back them up, even though they were not changed, because the touch kind of set the file system. Oh, listen, I'm going to touch the files, so that we're going to look change, even though they were not. So this is a very multi-use tool, but probably most of you guys have used or are going to use this to create empty files, and that's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's completely fine. That's fine. Okay, that's completely fine if that's how you want to use them. That's completely fine. Okay. So now you know. The touch utility, by design, was created to change the timestamp of the files, for either for the current time or for a specific time. But many of us use that to create empty files with 0 bytes, and that's fine. Which leads us to the next question, which is, why the hell would I want to create a file with 0 bytes? Many reasons, but in a nutshell, I can tell you that this much. Many situations, and we're going to experiment a couple of them. In many situations, just the presence of a file kind of triggers a chain reaction. Okay, just the file being present kind of triggers a chain reaction, and that's sometimes we want to actually trigger that chain reaction. Okay, so the file doesn't have to have anything within it, just need to exist. Okay, so basically many times just the sheer presence of a file will create a chain reaction, and often at times that's all we need to have a result. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm not going to force any situations because they are just going to occur. Just make sure it's just about to happen, and we're going to use it throughout these training sessions. And get subscribed to and ringling that tingling button, like how is Austin Evans says, so you can get notified. So if you want to help my channel out with zero investment, zero money invested by your part, give this live stream a like. Give a sub, drop a comment if you can. That helps a ton. A simple like, a simple comment, a simple sub, which is free, helps this, and it really helps. And I love you guys for that if you do that for me, which I'm giving all of this to you. Okay, how to create a folder. That's kind of also a very classical and historic thing to do. mkdir, which means make directory. Then you just give it a name. There we go. it exists. Nothing special to it. It just exists. Just be aware that in order to make this, in order for this to be possible, you need to have the correct permissions to do this, to do so. So, okay. So you need to have a special permissions called write permission on the folder where you are at. For example, if I try to create a folder on a root folder, I cannot because I don't have the enough rights to be able to create new stuff in that folder. Again, that's expected. You can only create new stuff in folders where you have that right. Okay, you are entitled to do that. Cool. How do I remove a folder? rmdir and the folder. As you can see, I have explained this in the first session, but I'm end up using the tab key because the tab key completes. Go check that session to get the details out. However, the rmdir command only removes a folder if empty. Okay, the rmdir command only removes a folder if empty. Okay, if it's not empty, it will not remove it. Let me show you. So, okay. Again, this is the kind of the expected result. So the rmdir will only remove a folder if empty. Okay. If it's not empty, it will not remove it. It is as simple as that. Which leads us to the next question. What will happen if I remove a folder? How do I remove a folder with files within it? It's with the rm file command. The rm command removes files and folders if you wish. So let's see some examples. Let's remove that file there. Fine. And if I try to remove the folder, it says, well, no shit. It's a folder. No shit. Yeah. It says telling me I cannot remove a folder, especially with contents within it. So you just do rm minus rf. Before I hit enter, R is recursive, which means it's going to remove the folder and everything within it. F is force. Well, let me try to remove the F. If you don't use the F, it will not force. If it use F, it will force. In this case, it's fine because there's nothing to force us. But it kind of deleted all the contents of the file and the folder. Before you ask me, can I do that on the root folder? I have a video about that. I go to my channel and search for through my videos. I have a video where I do the rm minus rf in the root folder, and I show the results. If things happen, how to recover from that. And you really should go there and check it out. But yes, you can, but only if a specific set of situations are true, but you can. But go check the video out. I don't want to spoil it. And while you are there checking that video out, drop a like, a subscribe. It really helps. And yeah, it helps. Cool. Where was I? Yeah. Now you know how to create folders, remove folders if empty, and remove folders if not empty. Just one final tip: if you do mkdir test 1, and within the test 1 you want to create a test 2, you cannot create the test 2 because the test 1 does not exist. So you have to create this one to create this one after. You can do this in 2 sittings, or just do -p, and this is going to do that for you. So this is going to create this one and then create that one afterwards. Ain't that nice? I think it is. But that's just me. Then you can remove it with the same process, the same method. And there you go. So here I'm creating and removing things without any fear of causing problems, because these virtual machines, I don't give a fuck what they do. If they break, I'll rebuild a new one, which is nice. And I'm using a very underprivileged user. So which means that since I'm using a very underprivileged user, there's nothing much I can do to harm the system itself. I can harm the user, but the system itself, it's going to stay just fine. If you're doing this in a production machine, well, think twice before you act. That's as simple as that. Cool. Minus P, blah, 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 blah. Minus L. We have discussed the copy command, but let's just check it out once more. So let's say I want to copy the etc folder here. I cannot, unless I just hit the R key, which is the recursive, and it's going to copy everything that it can. Since I'm an underprivileged user, I cannot copy everything, but there we go. I just copied the entirety of the etc folder that I can copy into my home folder. So it's that simple. Okay. Now, if I want to remove this, rm minus rf etc, and there we go. Permission denied, because probably it has some messed up permissions, or it's in use or whatever. I'm not going to worry all that much. Well, I can work this around with the root user, but I don't care all that much, and we don't know how to use the root user yet, so we'll leave that there for the time being. Okay, how to rename files and folders. Actually, you have two options to rename. You can use whatever one you want to. I don't care. If you want to go old school, which is the one I use, let's say I want to rename this file here. So you move the file from one name to the other. So basically you are moving the file to another name, and it works. You can also do that to folders if you can. I don't think I will be able to do this one. Oh, I actually can. Let's start to remove it now. Jeez, though the system really wants to keep those files. Let me just check those. Let me get a look. It's the Bluetooth, the contents of the Bluetooth folder. It probably contains something only root can do. Oh, I don't have the right permissions. Oh, I do have. Strange. It's really holding on to those files, isn't it? I don't want to troubleshoot any further because I don't want to confuse people at this point. If you want to see me doing some advanced troubleshooting on that stuff, like, subscribe, and hype, and get notified. Yeah. What was I doing? Oh, the move. However, the rename command also exists. You can use it if you want. I mean, it's your own prerogative. I don't even know if I know how to use it. Possibility to pass. Yeah, I don't really know how to use it, because I don't really care. So yeah, if you want to go to the main page and check the rename command, it's fine. I don't care all that much about it because the mv command works, and that's what I'm going to use. Whatever people say, it just works. You can check the rename command, but I don't really care all that much about that command, but you can do it. The mv command has the -v. V means verbose, and most commands have the verbose option. Verbose option, it's kind of show me details. Sometimes I use the verbose, sometimes I don't. But it's nice to know that option exists. Okay. Yeah, ls rm. There we go. Just checking my notes. Just checking my notes. Let me check the chat. No questions at all. That's fine. Which brings us. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Which brings us. Oh no, you saw my OBS. Oh no. Which brings us to, sadly, the last part of today, which is soft links and hard links. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now. You can ask them at any time. But people seem to enjoy some hard breaks for that. So if you want to ask any questions, it's fine. It's all good. Nope. All right. Your call. So let's go here. Hard links and soft links. So let's explain hard links and soft links. For that, let's go to the drawing board here. Let's go to let's sketch a bit. Come on. And let's go here. So let's talk about, this is white. Oh, it's black. Okay, cool. Soft links. I like to start with soft links. No special reason. It's just something people can relate better than hard links. So soft links, okay, so what is a soft link? Well, soft link, in a way, it's an alias. Okay? What does this mean? It means it's kind of, if you live in the Windows realm, it's kind of a shortcut, which means when I deal with this file or folder, in reality, I'm dealing with a different file or folder. It is very simple. You'll see that in a second. Okay? And soft links applies to files and folders. Because its cousin, the hard link, applies only to files, not folders. And also soft links can cross-link between, I'm not going to dive too much into the thing I'm going to say next, but soft links can link, okay, files and folders that are on different storage devices. This is disk 1, this is disk 2, and they can link data between those, because hard links cannot. I know the reasons why, but I'm not going to go into much detail at this point. So let's check links. So let's create a folder, mkdir links. Let's go there. And let's create a file. Let's get some contents inside the file. I will not explain the method I'm going to use to create content within a file, but I will explain later. So if you want to learn more about this, like, subscribe, and hype, I'm going to explain later on all about this, but not now. So echo file1 original and file1 original. So this is a simple text file with this simple text. Okay. If I do an ls-l, you see it's a very basic and regular file. File name, date of creation, the size, the user that created it. This is about hard links. I'll get there in a second, and the file permissions. Pretty simple. Let's create a soft link. So let's do ls-ln-s. So the ln command allows us to make links. Mind-blowing, right? And the -s allows us to create a soft link. Again, mind-blowing. Not really, but it is. Okay. So now, I usually mess the order up. I usually mess the what comes first, what comes next. But ln minus s, this is going to be original soft link and the file itself. Of course, it's the other way around, but I digress. This is my brain just misbehaving as usual. So it means that if I deal with this file, I'm going to deal with that one. So this one, well, it's literally there. This one points to that one. Jeez, it's so obvious. And these can be linked files and folders. And does not have to be files and folders in the same directory. Okay? I don't want to get, I want this. DC passability. So every time I check the contents of this file, I'm checking the contents of the etc passability. So basically, these are shortcuts, okay? And they are quite obvious. This one points to that one, and these are links. And a file system, a regular file system, has a shitload of soft links. A complete shitload, okay? Soft links are everywhere. For example, these guys we already know, they are soft links. See? And like I said, we can soft link files and folders. Soft link can be done almost in every situation. Hard links, not so much, but we will check hard links in a second. Pretty simple, right? Right. So if I remove this one, it will not remove that one. The file that was created originally stays there. Now, let me create this guy back. Okay. Now, if I delete or remove the original one, now things get a little bit more interesting. Now the soft link kind of gets lost. Where is my file? The file was moved to a different location, but the soft link is unaware of that. So now it's just an orphan file that just sits here, and well, it's kind of a forever alone situation. It's just pointing to an empty space, and it's feeling sad and lonely. You can remove it altogether or get the file back. Now everybody's happy. These two files are unique files. They are unique. They are independent from one another. Why do I say this? Because every file has a thing like this. It's a inode number. Okay, it's an inode number. Okay, which means without going too deep. An inode number is like a phone number. It's a reference. It's a number that references a file or folder. So since it's a different number, it means that they are their own unique numbers. So they are independent files from one another. They serve different purposes, correct, but they are completely independent from one another. But this one, it's a soft link. This one is a regular file. Soft links are fun. I like soft links. I've been talking about what soft links are for the past 30 minutes or so. I love it a lot. Cool. Now let's move to hard links. Hard links are not hard to understand. We just need to kind of explain this. I've shown you the inode number, right? And in simple terms, an inode, it's a file, it's a special property in the file system. An inode is a special property in the file system that represents a file. So every file and every folder has its corresponding inode number. And I have a video in my channel where I explained in detail what inodes are and how do they relate to the file system. Go check that video out. It's an awesome video. And while you are there, like, subscribe, and hype. It really helps. But an inode represents a file or folder. Okay? An inode represents a file or folder. And it contains properties like file name, permissions, attributes, etc. So what the hell is a hard link? A hard link, it's a different name for the same file. So and underneath the same inode number, it's going to have a different name. And it can have multiple ones. It's that simple. Okay? You can only hard link files, not folders. Okay? And they cannot cross why did I draw a router? And they cannot cross storage devices. They cannot cross. No folders and no cross contamination within or between storage devices. Okay. So basically, it works like this. So I have, for example, let's call this guy here. The inode is 21312. That's a funny number. It's a very funny number. So let's do ln without the s. File original, hard link. As you can see here, same inode number, but different file names. So it's the same file with two different names. So in a very, very, very nutshell-y way, this is what a hard link is. I'll say it again. Hard link is, this is the file, this is his inode number. This is his hard link, which is another name for the same inode, which means two files will share the same inode number with different names, which means they are the same file, but with different names. That's a hard link. Same file with two or more different names. If you watch this on a short form, come check the long form video. I was taking a clip, if nobody noticed. Now let's create another one. Let's 2, 3, 4. Now, as you can see here, basically all of these are the same inode, which means now we don't know which one is the original. Now we do not know which one is the original, because now there is no original. It's the same file with different names. Yeah. What is the difference between this and the soft link? Well, soft link, it's a different file, a separate file that points to one of the hard links. This is already, now you don't know which one is the original. They look exactly the same. Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting? So now we don't know which one is the original because they are all the same file with different names. They are clones. But the soft link is a different file that points to one of the hard links if there are multiple ones. Let me create a new clip. So here I'm on my live classroom explaining my students the difference between hard links and soft links. I'm delivering a bunch of examples, and I'm showing you the hard link and their relation to the inode, the soft link and their relation to the inode, and how and when they relate to one another. Come and check it out. So now, if you look at this, ones here, which one is the real one? I mean, if I do, let's see. If I remove this guy here, what's going to happen to the rest of them? Absolutely nothing. But look at this number. It went from 5 to 4. If I remove another one, 4 to 3. Aha! So I'm just removing names. When will this file be completely deleted? When this number reaches 0. I'm going to sneeze, but yeah, now we are in danger. Yeah. Now this is the last hard link, which means now if I delete the file, it's completely gone. This is awesome. Well, why do hard links and soft links exist? Well, again, sneezing. And because, yeah, soft links are a completely soft links are a completely separate entity. That one links, so these two files are different files. One is a soft link and points to another file. So the soft link is a completely independent entity from the original one. The hard link are always the same files, always the same inode number pointing to different names. And again, some softwares kind of deal well with soft links. Some do not like soft links, so we work around with a hard link, which is whenever possible. Why did I say whenever possible? Because hard links do not work with folders, neither can cross-link different partitions or storage devices. So one kind of complements the other depending on the limitations and depending on the use case. So it's kind of your job to see which one suits you better. For the most part, soft links can work out your problems, but if needed be, you can go to the hard links under those limitations. Ain't that nice? Now you know. Now you know. Now you know. Questions? No questions. Nice. If you have any questions, comment on this video, or go to the community tab and ask there. It's fine. And that was chapter 6 and 7. which I forgot the names because I have ADHD. Or in my case, ADHD. Yes, autistic and ADHD at your leisure. So, yeah, if you have any questions about chapter 6 and 7, ask them down below. This VOD will be soon available in YouTube and on Twitch for you to enjoy. YouTube channel members are going to receive a link or are going to get notified that there is an edited down version, so you can just get to the point. Thanks for watching for now. Next Wednesday, if things go as normal, I'll be back with chapters 8 and 9. Yeah, 8 and 9 sounds nice. Please like, subscribe, hype, and comment. It really helps. It helps me, of course, and to get this information out on the YouTube to algorithm. So algorithm pushes this to more people, and more people can learn from this and learn more about all of this and get access to this type of training. Ask any questions. I thrive on the interaction. One last time, like, subscribe, hype, and comment. And I'll see you in the next one. I love you guys.